Hey guys, so I wanted to hop on here and discuss this trade idea I'm looking at. So, getting right into it, ES is the stronger of the two indices right now, right? NASDAQ is making lower lows, and ES has been making higher lows. So, I want to be longing ES. That being said, the main framework for the trade here is NASDAQ. If I go to NASDAQ here, we tap into an eighth level um, of an hourly fair value gap, right? This is the support you want to see. These are trap shorts, right? Change in the state of delivery is closure above that SIBI, return into it. Now we're getting support. This could have been an entry, an aggressive entry. I'm waiting for the breaker personally. The setup in and of itself with the key reference point is cleaner on NASDAQ, but like I said, ES has been the stronger, so I want to long ES. So once we get above this breaker, right, this balance price range, right, this could have been an entry as well. I'm waiting for the breaker personally. Okay, I want to make sure we get above these still bearish order blocks, right? And this is your SMT, or not, this itself. Actually, let me see. Let me go to NASDAQ on my other chart. At the 830 news low. Yeah, so NASDAQ failed to, or actually took out the 830 news low, and ES failed to. So that's your SMT. ES is the stronger. Okay. I'm going to get in on the breaker, like I said. My stop will be, put a couple ticks below the BPR, which is also below the breaker, right? The bodies of this breaker. Okay. So I'm going to be targeting that buy side liquidity there at 49.2875. Okay. Once we hit that, stop will go to even. Okay. Target is Wednesday's high or high of week. Okay. And then we'll see if we get continuation into that daily SIBI we've been watching in Discord for a bit. Okay. And how we act once we deliver into it, the quadrants, the eighths, etc. Okay. So right now, I'm just waiting for this breaker. Okay. And if we go back to NASDAQ while we wait, what time do we deliver to this? Right, 10:06. So it's during that 9:50 to 10:10 period, right? So I do think we have potential here, looking at this for a low resistance liquidity run. Okay. So like I said, I'm just waiting now, right? And this, the reason they didn't take this is because we got a 4-hour immediate rebalance. So let me delete this real quick. Right here, came to the high of that wick, right? So it's more likely that we're not going to deliver to this hourly BISI until we reach some buy side objectives on the lower time frames, right? So we want to see this remain a breakaway gap. So still no closure above the breaker. Again, this could be an entry. I'm just a little more conservative today. It's a Friday, right? I want to see us close above this before entering, especially because ES, it probably wicked by like a key reference point. Like if we look at this wick, just look at 50%. Right, it went a quarter of a point. So $49.13, that's your 4-hour wick CE. Okay, it's your key reference point on ES. During a macro. Okay, we're coming down to this BPR low now. So again, it still would have been an okay aggressive entry, right? But that's why you wait most of the time, right, for this bullish breaker to form, right? We don't want to see bodies close below here. Let's see if they run to this volume imbalance, if anything occurs, if we wick it and then close back in this BPR and then get going. Okay, so there's that volume imbalance. Now we need to see the close inside of that BPR I have labeled in 30 seconds. So this is another one of those reasons where if you were to enter on that BPR, right, the stop for that would be the swing low that delivered to that key reference point, because sometimes when they have this volume imbalance, this could be a fair value gap, right? Just an inefficiency below the BPR. Sometimes they'll wick into it and then close the body within the BPR, right? See how we just closed right at the bottom there? Now I'd really want to see us get going, right? It doesn't mean I want to see us rip, but I don't want to see us, there's really no reason for us to go back below here and even low of day currently, okay? Okay, and while we're waiting, let me pull up dollar. Okay, I think dollar is going to come back down, get this low, right? And then potentially reverse higher. So it just took out, this is a 15-minute chart in dollar, and the candle I have my cursor over is the 8:30 candle. So we had 8:30 news, and we took out that buy side liquidity there, and we're running into this SIBI, which is right around, I believe we're just short of it, but equilibrium of this range, yeah. So I kind of think we're going to tap into this, right? Maybe this, I'd want to see this not get filled completely, right? The higher SIBI here, right? I'd want to see us tap into this SIBI equilibrium and then go lower, get previous day low into this 15-minute fair value gap, okay? So if that occurs and dollar goes down, that bodes well for our long idea on indices here. Okay, so see how the bodies are respecting this on ES right now? These are trap shorts. They're not going to give them the opportunity to get out, and it's a little cleaner to see on NASDAQ, right? Sell side delivery into a key reference point, aggressive recovery and buy side delivery, BPR. Look at this, right to the low of that. Look, the bodies are even, they're showing you. The bodies are telling you it's closing the upper portion of this BPR right there. Okay, so we're going to go above, get this breaker, and we really could rip up here on NASDAQ. Right, and like I said, I'm looking at the same on ES. Okay, so I'll enter long. Let's see if we get this volume imbalance. If we make a volume imbalance here, I'll go long on it. So I'll get my limit order ready, just so I can get a little better fill with the anticipation that breaker is going to be formed. Okay, so here we go. Okay, if it doesn't fill me, I'll just move my limit order up to the breaker, because I want to be sure I get involved in this move, right? Fairly confident it'll deliver, right? At least to buy side liquidity. Then, like I said, we want to see this expansion above that, right? To and through for a deeper stop hunt to Wednesday's high. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna get involved in this order block here. It still could trade down to the volume imbalance, but like I said, I want to make sure I'm in this trade. Okay. And there's our rip. Okay, so we're in the trade now off that breaker. And our stop loss is below that volume imbalance. So see how we tapped into that volume imbalance and took off? Body's respecting. Now it could still come back down in here, right? And let me do this so we can see where we're going. Okay. So let me get this out of the way. So we're long off this breaker, low, high, lower, low, right? This is that 4-hour immediate rebalance. So on the right side, you see here, I have that hourly BISI labeled. Now, once we get this formation and these things start to come to fruition, on the lower time frames, right? We see our model forming. That's what we want to see. So the fact that we didn't get down to this hourly BISI is signaling to me strength. Okay. So we will keep an eye on NASDAQ as well. So NASDAQ just tapped into that breaker now. Best case, we tap it and go, right? But my stop loss needs to allow, like say I was long off NASDAQ, my stop loss would have to be below the low of this breaker, in my opinion, right? We don't want to see it get all the way down there, but it still could, right? Just like it did with the low of this BPR here. Best case, we'd want to see it tap and go, right? But we did wick down. Sometimes that'll occur to the low of the BPR. Okay, but let's keep an eye on NASDAQ. Obviously, though, I'm managing ES, so we'll see. All right. All right, so now best case, right? This is a breakaway gap. It could still deliver down there, right? But we have this little BPR sell side delivery, this tiny SIBI, followed by a tiny BISI in the upper portion of that BPR, right? So it's reasonable to expect us not to trade down into there. If we do, of course, we can still find support out of the BPR. It just might take a little longer than I expect, which is fine, okay? My stop loss, if my analysis is correct, should be safe, all right? We swept this internal sell side here. Now, I don't want to put too much lipstick on the chart, but if I think price is going to go to that high from Wednesday at 49.33.25, I want to take my fib from the low of today, or that 8:30 low, right? To that level. Excuse me. We looking at our eighth levels, right? I'm going to take this off the chart for now, right? I'll just make it really faint, and that's what I'll do. So those very light gray lines is the implied dealing range, eighth levels, right? And I'll be looking for those smart money handshaking concepts, right? It's not necessary to know the stuff or use the stuff. I just like to see how the algorithm's working it, okay? And now it's just a waiting game. So long off the breaker, okay? Good move here. Again, just because it goes in my favor initially doesn't mean it's definitely going to be a winning trade, right? Doesn't mean I get scared that's going to come against me. I put the trade on. My analysis is that my stop is safe because it's below, right? This BPR, the volume imbalance. We deliver to this key reference point in the 4-hour wick high that we mentioned, okay? Now we have multiple PD rays in here, back and forth movement. This should be balanced. So if it does come down and hit my stop, right, obviously my trade would be wrong, but my bullish analysis, at least till we get to this high, is incorrect, right? So now, once I form my bias for the trade, my idea for the trade, you just let it play out, and it's just another opportunity to kind of refine your system. It's just a data entry, right? Regardless, if this is a win, right, you want to do things like, say it does go up to Wednesday high, and I take my profit, and then we continue to rip through it, right? I want to review that and see what I could have done better. If there's anything I could have done to milk anything else out of that trade, not to get greedy, but logically look for any logic and ways to refine my system. So even if it's a losing trade, you review it. Even if it's a winning trade, you review it, right? So now we just wait See what dollar's doing. All right, so dollar, it failed to get to equilibrium of the range there, but nice rejection after purging that 830 high into that SIBI. So I want to see dollar really give up and go down here. And if dollar really starts to get bearish here, we could really get going on indices, right? But let's keep an eye on NASDAQ. Good support off your breaker there, right? That is 48. It's a little more than 20 handles in and of itself as we take out this internal buy side there. Okay. Gotta come up here, right? There we get that, or not yet, but okay. So NASDAQ, like I said, that's a good move right there. Right. So now we have to see with NAS. All right, we're in the premium of this range. Do we want to continue to dig higher? So good move here. All right, that's your 5 handles. Actually, it fell just a tick short. That would be 4.75 handles. But again, price still could come back down here, right? My assumption is that my stop is safe. So I will keep an eye on, say NASDAQ gets that high before ES does. We'll keep an eye on how price acts there. That's something I typically do, right? I want to make sure an SMT isn't forming and we're not going to reverse. And another thing is like with trailing the stop loss, if I do see something super clear with price action occur up here, where I say, okay, now we shouldn't go below this, then I'll trail my stop. But until that occurs, I'm trusting this as my stop loss and not trailing it till we get this high at least, okay? So reminder, like sometimes it will be this coloring outside of the line, and that's literally one tick, which is fine for ES, this 4-hour wick, right? Immediate rebalance, okay, initially here, then we come back down. The immediate rebalance, the rule of thumb is that you want to see that expansion on the 2 candles that follow that immediate rebalance. So this is still permissible, right? Coming back down one more time into this wick. Nothing really I want to mention on the hourly, but right, that BISI here, it's reasonable to expect that to remain open till we meet some lower time frame buy side objectives, okay? Because we had this higher time frame immediate rebalance. So it will be important. I do want to see if we do get above here on a 50-minute basis, do we close above and use it as an inversion, this 15-minute SIBI here, and then attack Wednesday's high, and this is that daily SIBI, okay? Five-minute breaker. So now we just wait till one of the things in our trade analysis occurs, right? We wait till we get this buy side liquidity, right? We don't always need to be doing something, okay? We wait till we get stopped out, right? We're just waiting now. The trade is on. Trust it. Really good move here on NASDAQ. Looking at my other monitor, but we'll pull it up here. Really good move there. Okay, that's 40 points on NAS. All right, we're gonna have to get through this here, which we just tapped right there. We'd want to see this fail to act as resistance. Go back to ES. All right, nice move there. Okay. All right, so that's what? Almost 7 handles, 8 handles. Okay, so I'm debating just closing this out here. It's Friday. I think I'm going to put my limit order here. Okay. Take the 10 handles, or just short of 10 handles, but already green for the week. Don't need to be greedy. And then, like I said, right, I'll review if we do deliver here. But I want to pay myself while I have this profit on the table. So let's see if we expand to 49.28.75. Look at NASDAQ. See if we close back above this inversion. We need to see a body close above there. Hasn't occurred yet. All right. So we don't want to see us get back below here. Best case. Obviously, we still could, right, and then return, but just kind of tape reading there. So again, we mentioned it in the beginning, but study what happened here, right? This is why you don't jam your stop. If you were to go, I know you guys saw me enter after that BPR, like I said, right? After I saw this support, this is when I really get interested, right? On top of my already long bias, okay? Body respecting the low of this BPR, sell side delivery, buy side delivery, wicking down, right? The wicks do the damage, but we're just wicking down into this volume imbalance, okay?